Now I'm gonna talk about the most confusing motivations. I played the C notes on the entire keyboard and between C and C. Excuse me. I played on the entire keyboard. Between C and C, there is always an octave. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. These eight notes make a scale. Between C and C, there is an octave. I can play upwards and backwards. And I can combine these, and I can combine each two octaves. This is the key. So these are my, each is my different files of applying the notes, so to say. So to say, I have each file, and between each C note a file which I am applying the notes. I'm focusing on an area, a file each time. changing the phrasing, how I'm phrasing. I'm changing a bit. So, this is the first thing I want to talk about. How I can employ the scales in the motion. This is the basic motivation. The scales goes into motion. Scales in the motion is the motivation. So this is the first thing. The scales in motion is the motivation. And I make this by phrasing the scales, not using the static, phrasing it. I am changing the time, duration, and the tonicity or something, and how I am. For example, in this case, I use the doublets. Now I am changed it. Now I made, instead of the phrases or doublets, I made now a little bit longer phrase. Now 3-note phrase I have built it and used, and I used in each step of the scale, each level of the scale, backwards, from upwards to backwards, from the thinnest note to from the highest note to the lowest note. A 3-note phrase I have made, but beginning from the F and out 1 octave down, from each level of the note, 3-note phrases I have built. A, B, C, D, C, B, C, B, A, B, A, G, F, F, G, F, A, C, D, A, D, C. if I would play this a little bit live and victorious and a little bit live, I'm letting to all the dear listeners define the dynamics and articulations of the notes. Three-note phrase. 2, 3, 4. So the three-note phrases applied on each steps of a scale. Sounds like this, and phrasing and different phrases and how I'm toning it on the station. And okay, and this one more thing I want. And the repeating patterns. The number 3, which I can use or variate, is using the repeating patterns instead of the chains of the notes made from the 3-note phrases. I can use a 3-note phrase repeating pattern even. Even with the 2-note, with lots of different. Then I have made another chain of the notes applied from the different levels. So what I want to show is finding a scale from 8 notes, applying a notes in a file with a phrasing, different phrasings, and with the different tonicitations and maybe the repeating patterns employing in between my lines. changing the speed and the volume is another tema. But what I'm trying to mention is today, I have a files between the two same notes. In an octave, I have file to employ the notes, so to say, and show. And in this file, I am applying a scale. 8 notes from C to C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. For example, I'm applying 8 notes in a definite file. And in this, between 8 points, with the half notes, I have 12 points. Between C and C, I have 11 points. So these are the targets I will hit or not hit. I will use or not the 11 different tones, 4 half and 8 whole note, to 12 different notes, which I will choose to employ or not choose to while I am creating or building my lines. In this point, the important point is there is levels of the notes are ordered as the levels, as the letters, and each has different characters and each has different place. So if I would travel from C and stop in the D, this is my first step. The first step is even second step, second level, third level, fourth level, fifth level or fifth step, sixth level, seventh level, and eighth level, as well as intervals. In the eighth step, I am at the same note. So it is important to make independent chains or the circles of the notes at different files and combine them. I cannot think the whole line at once before I create. I can create with small steps and then combine them. I can create with small steps my lines and combine them. So this is very important. My brain, my perception, my fingers, and all the coordination between them. And I'm listening what I'm playing and the other musicians. This is the important. Is the music the social thing? So I'm listening the other musicians or the backing tracks. This I am making my different combination of the notes and the different steps and levels and combine them. Or this is like I have a blank paper, how I will drive on it. So, but what I'm trying to show is, for example, the easiest 3 phrase notes. If I will play like the bees, honey shapes, everything is the same or symmetric, then it sounds good, but it can sound good, but maybe not too much original because it has been created, this line has been created million times before me. So, but it can sound very true and good and characteristic. So I have a very less chance than like the classical musicians interpreting the same compositions, but hundreds, thousands of the different musicians. So I have it's my chance. Let's only for the how I'm commenting these notes. So there is steps in this file. Even which kind of phrase I'm using, it is independent from that. I have to understand that I have a different points, different small files in this big file. In that file, I divided my files into the 7 different files. I have divided my entire file into the 7. Each has different characteristic files. 1. Step 1. Step 2. Step 3. Step 4. Step 5. Step 6. Step 7. Just like this. Step 7. 6. 4, 3, and 2. As well as the upwards and backwards. So I have divided my whole file into the 7 little files, each begin from each step. And in them, each has different characteristics. So I'm making actually it is very, very nice to use the 3 notes in 3 note phrases. For example, let's hear this. How will, in an easy composition, how it will sound. How can I find out or figure out or seek the new kinds of phrases? In these 3 note phrases, I can also vary the rhythmic rhythm, how I'm applied, or how syncopated I'm applying. Or I can play straight 16 or 8 notes, or I can play swing feeling phrasing. So I play them not straight, not swing. Kind of keeps on. I showed this example just because you should not make lines. You don't have to make lines in the books or in the teaching. Forget them. Or in the television. You can create your own. So how can you create? How different types of phrases? You should have to listen lots of music. You should have to listen lots of good music, which in the jazz music is your favorites. Then lay down and see from which kind of notes it has been made in and how kind of magic it has. So in this short lesson or short tips, I think these are the most these are the points people are most confused. And they don't have any idea. I'm reading books and books. Okay. The first was how to understand. I have a file to apply the notes. I have a scale. I can choose a different scale. And I have a phrasing at the simplest, the two-note phrasing. Like this. And while I'm applying a chord, I'm applying the chains of the notes. Begins from the different places and has a different characters. And it has a different characters. As you know, I can play all the C major harmonic chords. It can be not the difference, but I have to know what kind of style of the music, what kind of interpretation in which century and which origins the music has. I cannot choose any kind of style, any kind of phrasing. Each kind of phrasing has been invented before and used at least decade. But if I would like to choose figure out, if I would like to have an idea, while I don't have any knowledge of the music history and didn't listen anything before, any album or didn't transcribe anything before, the most famous jazz standards or the artists, musicians, if I didn't do that and I have no knowledge or no listen, I can use like this the classical music basis. I mean the West, I mean not the West, the East classical music knowledge. I like listening the Middle Age very good. Classical and all the stuff. Where I should have to listen to classical music very good from the decade to decade, composer to composer, and century to century, then I have a better understanding. But if I don't have an idea about this, then I can first begin with the two-note phrases, and just I can play just C and A, or just C and these common chords, and I can play over it either. I should have to know which chord is playing, which scale I will employ. And the last thing I want to show us today is about 30 minutes. Is the how will I make I should not have to play over a chord chains of notes. I should not while at one chord playing I should not play one type of the chains of notes without stops and without things. Music is another. I think the music is learned with making, but it is not about first learn the theory and make music. No, begin to make with what you know or what you don't know. Like you can make with one note, two notes. You can make with everything. This is the thing. This is too much. It is not an rare thing. It is too much about this. Music is everywhere. You can play with two notes in music. You can. It's wherever you play, whatever you play, it's okay. And big thing. It's every individual, every person can make the music with one note, with two note, with three note, with four note, and etc. So there is not. I should not play music while one chord is playing as the non-stopping change of the notes. Even if I have an idea or not have an idea about the history of the music, which is made before that now, or before these years. I'm trying to give you a guidance, so I can even while one chord is playing, or the phrases or the cadences of the chords, the chains of the chords. In this folder 251, C major, D minor, G major, just have an idea. Or even just while one chord is playing, I can play the breaths. I don't have to play unstopped the notes while one chord is playing. Don't have to connect all. It can stay. I can play small by small phrase or sequence, small by small, and let it. I must not connect it. I don't have to balance it and make perfect shapes. Even one note I can play. Even one note can smile or laugh or cry. And the sentences, the answers and the questions. These are like the books words. Imagine how many kind of the books and how many kind of the texts there exist in the history of the civilization. Of course, I will play with my characteristic. I am öner tanyeri. There is nothing one more from me. I'm showing you can play with less notes and letting open, not connect everything. Like the perfect or symmetric shapes. A note can cry or smile or laugh. where you are is there is the point or interest. To manage the interest, this is a huge knowledge, consciousness. This is a very hard thing, but let's listen this. I can play the notes, phrase the notes, as like the notes don't go neither low nor high notes. Don't go anywhere, as staying where they are. This A stays. This E stays. This D stays. This C stays. This A stays. But they are breathing and staying and going. This is how I'm creating the melodies. So a phrase is not only a melody, it's a technical term. Making a melody is a little bit different then. I don't have to melodic or more technical outlooking. I don't have to play the chains of notes overall on a chord. I can make melodies. Stopping at the different levels of a scale. I can play it at the different files. So this is the main. These are the main things. But I can make independent notes and independent organization of the notes, which I'm creating at the different the steps of a scale or a filed on my music instrument. I can think mathematically or theoretically, but to make a melody, I should learn more, listen more, practice more. And it should not have to be at the same speed, same kind of phrasing, or the chains or the full of notes. I can use both the silence, both the different steps, as well as, for example, in C, the chord notes C, E, G, and B. The chord notes, the first, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. These are spatial chords, which around them, what I'm making around them or landing to those notes is sounds more right, if I would phrase good and right, because there is no formula for music. We hear the music, we like the music, and we trying to make the music. There is nothing like a one thing which called music and could be made with a formula. This is a wrong type of thinking. So I want to play jazz music. I like jazz music, like the cartoons and movies. The sounds, I like these sounds actually. This is the sounds I like. Too. Oh yeah. One more thing I try to show you. So the chord notes, the arpeggios, the chord notes, these are the files actually. Each chord notes are 4 different files I can use them, but I'm not playing one chord about 3 or 10 minutes, but the chords are actually passing very, very quickly. B9, G7, B9. nerves with these. Uh, and coming quite to the 15 minutes. But it's okay to see this all at one place, and I am playing more sure with this written knowledge. Okay, these are the things. Just give me a second to think about these. One more characteristic tonation. What I want to see, I can employ the pentatonics either. So this is useful if I would know the octave places where the C notes are, for example, or any note at the octave places. It is useful because of then I know the pentatonics. There's not only the A minor pentatonics. And there is not, and the A minor pentatonics or not stays same at all the place. In the fall I'm playing the C, A, D, E, and G. These 5 notes. 5 notes of the 7 notes. I am not using the B and F. So A minor pentatonic is not the same everywhere. Because of this, it is good that I know where the C notes are on my guitar. Okay, and pentatonic sounds a little bit cool, right? Etc. and so on. And so on. So, employing the pentatonics is an idea to play changes or the chords. What I played now: 2-5-1, D minor 7, G7, and C major 7. But the point or the different thing what I want to show you is here at that point is how I'm using using a different sound while I'm employing the pentatonics. I will go with the most used and most known, famous, good known pentatonics. It's the A minor pentatonic. Do you know the Ninja tunes? And this sounds at the beginning of where the first computers or the playable devices came to the houses. I'm using a nylon string acoustic guitar. I'm a fan of a Japanese music even, either. I like unity, meditation, wholeness, and one more technique I want to mention here is the octave length. Strong octave lines gives a very, very good feeling. Right, these octave lines is an idea. The single string lines. This is very actually not usually common in the jazz guitar, but I'm gonna show you how to make this. Best way is to follow the scale steps. I didn't use the scale. I'll go back. Let's go. Don't use the thing as like a formula. Try to make this in steps in the scale inside. But You can think this like a square paper with square lines. And it is complicated because you're used to play the guitar, for example. But thinking with the single strings like a trumpet, it makes it understandable. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All notes I play. Each string is a different tune. I can use the chromatic section. Like a congratulation. I can play with the whole notes even without calculating. Without calculating, I can play on that one string. Even without calculating. Even without calculating, with the whole notes. That's all. I know. What I have figured out was, okay, this is another time sessions. Singing the syntaxes letters a little bit louder. Let's look at this. The fifth. The third.